Meanwhile, the Dow posting a 270-point gain, but the rise would have been much more robust if not for the weakness in UnitedHealth. That stock closing down nearly 11%. This after the Wall Street Journal reported the DOJ is investigating whether the company committed criminal Medicare fraud. UNH has lost almost $100 billion in market cap since Monday, is now trading on April 2020 lows. UnitedHealth putting out a statement in response to the Wall Street Journal saying the company has not been notified by the Justice Department of any investigation and that it stands by the integrity of its Medicare Advantage business. Today's drop putting the stock down 55% from the all-time high it hit on November 11th. It's been battered by a host of headlines since then, from the murder of Brian Thompson, the CEO of its insurance unit, to a disappointing first quarter report, to withdrawn guidance, plus a CEO change just earlier this week. So how long can the ugly sentiment hang over the stock? Would you trade it? Tim?
First of all, welcome back, Mel.
Thank you. Great
you
to
were
be
missed,
back.
as always. And trading is what you're doing here, because I think you see an opportunity in what was 2 months ago the best stock, best long-term chart in the market, and certainly a company that I over the last 2 or 3 years have really felt deserved the higher multiple. It was a margin story in addition to growth that was above its peers. It was a dominant position. I think you're careful here. I think what I love about trading this stock from the long side, though, is everything I have heard is at least some reaffirmation, even if guidance is pulled. There's some sense that we're in the middle part of the 25 guide. And if we're in the middle part of the 25 guide, based upon those EPS multiples, this is, at around $26 a share. You can now do the math. We're trading. Yesterday, I talked about it being around 12 times. Now it's about 11 times. I think you're in a very interesting place. You start to get into the headlines from today bring this into a very different place. The business we had yesterday was something where it was, to me, starting to really just be a valuation call. You never feel like you have to jump in when that falling knife is falling. But I think this is a stock I am inclined to trade from the long side.
I think the sentiment seemed to have been an era of forgiveness for precisely the reason you outlined. It had been a monster, a historic run in terms of a stock, a heroic stock. Carter called it a godlike stock until April 17th, when it became clear that UNH was suffering something more UNH specific compared to its peers. And that's when that sort of forgiveness wore off. Yeah.
They have industry issues without question. We talked about that. They have specific company issues as well. I think we've done a good job navigating people away from this. So here's the good news, if there is any. What Tim just said, and then I'll add these three things. 3 analysts made comments today about UNH. RBC maintained a $525 price target. UBS maintained their buy. Bernstein has an almost $600 price target. All said constructive things. And UNH management today said the Wall Street Journal article was, quoting, deeply irresponsible. Well, for them to say that, they must have some conviction that it's deeply irresponsible. All those things in the mix, I don't think they've done a particularly good job getting in front of this. And if you go back to the March 2020 low, I think it was like 210-ish. I mean, that's where it seems headed for, despite the fact that it traded about 14 times normal volume today.
Yeah, so Guy brings up that pandemic low, and I think that's what you have to eyeball. But how do they not know if it's a criminal charge or not? Don't you think are they not opening their emails? How does that happen? How do we know? How are we talking about it, but they don't know?
Well, they said they've not been notified.
Then
So
yeah, so
you're saying that effectively that they don't
have one.
There isn't one.
Right. So if there isn't one, then you buy the stock off of this dramatic fall based on this. But I don't think, to Tim's point, for a bounce. I don't think, to Tim's point, that you have to catch a falling knife. I think if you look at it, 15% of their membership is Medicare Advantage, 30% of their revenues is Medicare Advantage. It's only second to Humana. Right now, the stock can't get out of its own way. It's had a terrible year thus far. I think you got to wait and see, but I am looking at that level that Guy's talking about.
Or maybe this makes other players in the same space look that much better. A player like Elevance, for instance, which came out April 17th saying, we don't have those same issues as UNH.
Yeah, and I think when you're looking at UNH, I mean, a lot of this stuff isn't going to go away for them. So, yeah, maybe you do want to start to look at some of these other players. But the medical utilization costs are going to continue to weigh on margins. I think more so than the headlines we saw today. The fact that they lowered guidance significantly a month ago and then just cut guidance just now, I mean, that I think is a bigger issue, that they have already had some sort of look ahead and they're really pulling back on that. So I think what that means for them moving forward, there's probably more downside to come here. So I'd probably stay away from this.
To be fair, though, they could pull the guidance just to give the new CEO some room.
No doubt.
To kitchen sink himself. I'm not saying that all is clear that they pull guidance. I mean, who knows what's going to come out when he actually gives guidance.
He's the right person,
yeah.
I think, without question.
Yeah.
I mean, he was there for, 9 or 10 years, and under his leadership, they did extraordinarily well. So it's the right person to come back. But, you mentioned other companies. Our crack staff in EC put up a Humana chart over the last 6 years. That stock is lower than the 2020 lows, which is remarkable if you think about it. So if you don't think UNH has more room to downside, I just don't think you're paying attention.